Hello, friends. Welcome to Game Plan Monday. My name is Wendy. I am the owner and operator of Cannon Plannin', which you are watching me here, whether on my Facebook Live or over on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have been talking with you guys over the last couple of weeks about starting fresh, starting new after a huge change. Like, what does that look like? And even if you're not starting with a huge change, maybe you are trying to get better organized. Maybe you're trying to build better routines. Maybe you are trying to just start a planning journey one way or the other with your business. And so one of the things that I want to talk about over the course of the next couple of weeks leading up to our next workshop, which is called, I don't know the name. I can tell you what the topic is. The topic is on building a CRM system, which is talking with your customers and having some follow-up going along with that. So what I want to talk about today, though, specifically after all of those things that we've been talking about, is teaching yourself how to build trust in yourself. And we're going to do that with some follow through. You might have that feeling that something keeps tapping on your shoulder, right? That little thing that's in the back of your mind saying, remember me, remember me. It's usually a half-finished task that's lingering there, hanging on in your mind and making you feel overwhelmed, even though you're technically off the clock, right? Some of us don't work our businesses 24/7. I certainly hope you're not either, because you're taking time for you. But that little thing in the back of your mind that's hanging on and carrying on and having a conversation with you, even though you don't know it's happening, is called an open loop. And it's a sneaky thing that can drain your energy, and not necessarily your physical energy, but your mental energy. So this week, we're going to talk about identifying what's worth following through on and setting up in your planner, and what are those things that you can actually let go of. So I want to dive in, and I want to start by asking you this question. What is one unfinished task that keeps popping up in your mind? We all have them. They're all things that are going on. I know right now in the back of my mind, I've got all of the month-end tasks floating around back there. I have them written down. But it is mainly a reminder to open my planner and get those things checked off my list. And they're taking up a lot of space in my head right now, because month end is coming up Wednesday, Thursday, and I want to make sure that I get those things done. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a new planning tool here in a little bit. But before I dive into that, I want you guys to think about what it means to prioritize those things that are taking up space in your head. I want you to think about those different things that you might be struggling with, and that you want to make sure that you get finished, but you're just not quite sure how to do that. So I put together a layout for you guys today. This is a new insert. We've had it around for a while, and I dug it out of my stash the other day and went, I want to start incorporating this, because I think that can have great value. This is the to-do with priorities list or insert. And in it has a couple of different options. It's a double-sided, so they're mirror images of each other. So we're only going to focus on one side. But when you open it, you're going to see that it has a month and a date, because you don't necessarily need to use this insert every single day. Priorities, and there's lots of spaces here, but I think we really want to just stick to 3. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves with all of the things, because all of the things, you can't make all of the things a priority. It's just not something you can do. Off to the side is a place for you to write to-dos, and maybe those to-dos are specifically part of these priorities, or maybe they're just a list of to-dos that have been taking up space in your head, and you want to make sure you get them on paper. What notes do you have about the things that are going on up here? And then what reminders do you want to remind yourself of? So I did set one up for you guys. Again, this is just a mock. This is not necessarily something that I'm thinking about constantly, because number one, mine would be a lot messier, and I want you guys to be able to read it. So here we go. So priorities, follow up with 5 customers from April. We are closing down on the end of the month, and now is a great time to go back and check in on those customers for the month of April. Send out 3 sample packs. One of the things that you can do to grow your business is to share the love of Tula 12 with other people, and not necessarily those that have purchased from you, but those that may want to experience whatever products you have to share. And I said Tula 12, but that's because I am with Tula 12, but you can share any products that you might have. Thank goodness. What kind of samples do you have there? Pampered Chef, what kind of samples do you have there? Norwex, do you guys have samples? Those kinds of things. Post engagement poll in your VIP group. Now, why might this be a priority? Well, depending on what you have going on or what you're thinking about, maybe you're trying to solidify the theme that you want to cover for May. Maybe this is a good way for you to get started with that. Is post a poll. What kind of information are your people wanting to learn about? So these are the 3 priorities that we picked. What are some of the to-dos that I have over here as well? Draft email for upcoming launch. Okay, that's a great to-do. Schedule 2 social media posts. Again, great things to be doing. Prep thank you cards for top customers. Organize customer contact list. Review sales goal for the month. Plan content for next week. Respond to 2 pending DMs. Check inventory for samples and prep invoices for last week. Now, a couple of these things might be related to these. Let's see. Follow up with 5 customers for April. How can you go through and determine what that looks like? Maybe prepping thank you cards. Okay. Organizing your customer contact list, responding to 2 pending DMs. These are all things that are going to lead you to complete this follow up with 5 customers. Let's look at the other one. Send out 3 sample packs. Well, right here, check inventory for samples. That's a great way to be able to break that down into smaller bites and make sure that you have those to send out. Post engagement post and VIP group. There's a couple of ones that can match that. Schedule 2 social media posts. Plan content for next week. Prep invoices for last week. These may not necessarily have to do with engagement, but you can always share that background, what's happening in the background with your customers. Notes. New customer referral ideas. Maybe this is something that she's not doing right now, but maybe something that we want to do in the future. New customer referral ideas. Create an incentive graphic. Upcoming event. Start planning customer appreciation event. Update pin post in VIP group. Add personal touch to follow-up message. Ask them about their personal goals. This is a great way to build connection, know, like, and trust, and all of those fun things that we work on as business owners. The reminders. Follow up with 2 samples from last week. Okay, look, we sent out the 3 samples, and then we want to follow up with 2 or 3 samples from last week. So we're doing it for this week. We're going to make sure that we go back and follow up for the ones we sent out last time. Post reminder of VIP event on Thursday. Maybe that has to do with this engagement, okay? And then down here at the bottom, confirm shipping on delayed orders for customers. That was one of the things that we were working on with invoices there at the top. So how would it feel to finish your top 3 priorities for the week? How would it feel to kind of have this a little bit organized so that you know exactly what you needed to do next in order to serve your customers and close those open loops, those things that are taking up time and space in your mind? So you might be thinking, okay, so I am somebody that not only has a personal life, but I also have a business life. So how can I apply this to maybe my personal life as well as my business life? So let's look at the personal loops that we might have to close on a personal level. Maybe you have to mail out a birthday card. Maybe you are trying to organize your laundry so you can get them started. And I love laundry, friends. I'm just one of those weirdos. I like to go into my laundry room and organize laundry. So work on closing a small loop can give you major mental relief. If we're not taking time to think about that thing that we need to do, we can start thinking about things that we want to do in the future. Maybe in your business, some things that you can do is open your planner and find open loops for your customer relationships. So who bought something last month? Follow up. Who asked for information but never ordered? Check in with them. Who mentioned they might be interested? Send a friendly reminder, remind them, make yourself sticky, make them hear from you a couple of times, and not in a spammy, gross way, but just a, hey, you mentioned you might be interested. I just wanted to follow up with you and see if that was still the case so that I can continue to serve you better. Each tiny follow through that you accomplish, it builds trust, not just trust in your business and between you and your customer, but also builds trust with you. So where in your business are you finding that you're one follow-up away from building a stronger trust system with your business, with your customers, with yourself? So one quick tip that you can do to utilize this follow-through system is every Sunday, do a mini brain dump. Once you do that brain dump, list all the things that you're carrying around in your head. That's what your brain dump is, right? Star the ones that truly need follow-through. Those are the ones that you're going to put here. Now, I know that some people might say, well, that's redundant. You're writing it multiple times. But for my own personal thing, if I don't write it down, then it's not getting done. And if I write it down more than one time, then obviously it's something super important that I need to do. I do a messy brain dump on the weekends, and then I go back and I organize it when I'm doing my membership calls on Sundays when I do our weekly planning session. So they're getting to see the cleaned up version of my mess, because my mess is something that I want to keep private. It is all things that I need to make sure that I'm doing for my personal self, for my business, all of those kinds of things. Add those things to your to-do priorities insert for the week. So the things that are the starred things, those are the things that you're going to add. Momentum starts with just one closed loop, one thing that you get done off your list. So what's a simple action that you can take today to close the loop and build momentum? Maybe it's writing down your brain dump. Maybe it is organizing your task list. Maybe it's taking time to give that space in your brain, the ability to empty the thoughts in it. So this week, I don't want you to focus on adding more things to your to-do list. Instead, I want you to focus on finishing the things that matter most, the things that have been taking up space. Prioritize your promises, not only to yourself, but to your customers and to your business, so that you can say, yeah, I did those things I said I was going to do. The most powerful plans aren't the ones we dream up, they're the ones we follow through on. So yeah, we might say, hey, these are the things that I want to do in the future, but until we are actually doing them, then we are missing out on an opportunity to build know, like, and trust with your number one asset, which happens to be you. So grab your insert, whatever insert you happen to be using, close up some loops and make some progress today. I will see you guys next Monday. We are going to continue on talking about follow through and following up and doing those things leading up to our workshop that will be happening at the end of this month. Hope you all have a fantastic week. And to end our time together, I want you to share one open loop that you've committed to closing this week. If you aren't sure what that open loop is, take some time to think about what might be crawling around up there that's taking up mental space and not allowing you to be able to move on to other things throughout the day. Hope you guys all have a fantastic week, and I will see you all soon. Bye, friends.